that's why
That's
we
the
do it the
beginning
other
of
way.
operations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then all we did in YAP is take the difference and show how it can divide us both up, and that's a higher level.
But I think you were saying that with the volume one, was it more likely to pour out to make level or pour in to make level?
You know,
I think it's
if we
pour
wanted
in.
to focus on, if we're focused on making it equal, you'd probably have one or the other. If you're focusing on, or if you're focusing on making them equal, it doesn't really matter. If you're focusing on trying to identify the quantity, the difference, then it's likely pouring out, because you can pour out to an empty
Yeah.
container.
So that's subtract.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
difference,
Yeah,
whereas you
because-
have to pour from a full container, and unless you mark that container,
Mm.
and remember, these are basically non-numeric.
Yeah.
And so we don't,
Yeah.
you know, if
So-
you're pouring in, you can't keep track, you could mark.
But you don't need to know that because you're just calling.
No, that's
But-
my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the non-
But what we want to do is make that link at some stage that subtraction is the inverse of.
Well, we want to do
Yes.
it right then.
Because you're right, because you might want to pour that out then. Yeah.
Some of the.
Float on top. Is it that much more?
Yeah.
So this
Some
is
of
the
the
kind of
activities.
thing we did with the beans and with the berries and other drawings we did. But each one of us did it slightly differently. In the, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
You know, forget about some of that. Dora was really setting up her ruler.
Right. And so many of these early, to me, are without a ruler, even though it could be additive or multiplicative, you don't need to refer to this as a number something. It just, you can refer to it that two of these make this.
Well, that's how Dora does it. She
Right, and
measures with,
two
she's
of
not
these
thinking
make
of a
this.
number,
Right,
Yeah.
but she gets that length.
yeah. And, right.
And because we choose our quantities, they will be things the kids can fold. And so therefore they can track it and then come back to
Right.
this.
And so it's just as legitimate. I'm not gonna make one of these work because I can't see these quickly.
Sure.
But it's just as legitimate to say that these two things make this because I can see it in
Either way.
either way.
And
As it is to say, three of these make this.
Mhm.
It doesn't really matter non-numerically. If you want to know
And
how
that's
many of
how-
this is in a that, you better get to numbers.
yeah, and that's I'm thinking is what we're doing with the volume.
Just think of the power. If this is one, what's this?
And then that's a little later.
I know, I mean, but that's
But
what I'm saying,
yes,
just the
that's
power.
where we're going.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's a scaling which is not a whole number scaling, just so cool. And-
It's the ratio is
Yeah.
there regardless of what it's called, and that's to me, that's why that to me is the central band, because it's embedded in what we're doing. And we're not bastardizing the Yupik, it's embedded in what they do.
Yeah.
So it's reflected. So to me, and then one activity on the weight of the same type, that's good enough, right? That should give the teachers a solid idea of what's the foundation, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Where did you put substituting in? I know Davidoff has it in the first grade.
Well, you really are trying to substitute as soon as you do this.
Yeah.
As soon as you do a covering. So if I had this, I could, I mean, that's the reason
But
for saying.
he brought it to like a symbolic level, I believe, with the kids.
Do you mean substituting in terms of like an indirect measure?
No.
Like two
Like
of these
A
equals
plus
this.
A is
Oh,
B.
yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
C plus C
Okay.
is A, so C plus C plus A is B.
Mhm.
That type of
Probably
substitution.
did it more from the, if this is two of these, you could substitute trying to think of whether you're substituting this one over here, or would you be substituting two of these? I'm just drawing a blank right now.
But I think,
We do that, so if it could be this, well, you could say it another way because these are the same. So that, again, that's going back to equality. As long as you know that quantity A is the same as quantity B, you can put quantity B wherever you see quantity A.
Right.
And that's the
Yeah.
substitution.
where do you
Or the
put-
transitive, I guess, is really a substitution.
Yes.
Right.
Where do
And
you
so transitive would be quality
Yeah,
effectively,
yeah.
excuse me.
No, where do you start representing all that symbolically?
That's
and-
my question.
That, because I remember seeing a lot of resistance on the teacher's part. They would be really comfortable with this, and then Jura would write it as equations, and they go, our kids don't get to that until 5th grade.
You do it right at the very beginning.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
That's what-
as soon as you start comparing, you're
Then
gonna.
one of the a couple of the lessons we do, we want to put this in, so it's clearly modeled for the teachers.
Yeah, right from the where it's so simple that it's obvious.
Exactly.
And we do it even in the body lengths.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In fact, you even have to do reflexive. A is equal to A, or
Mhm.
A is equal to B,
That's
and B
why
is equal to
I was
A.
okay with the two squares being the same.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
oh, okay, yeah, these two are congruent, where they have the
Congruent,
same
yeah,
area.
yeah.
And then even, once they understand what's a measurable attribute, it seems to me a minor assessment is, okay, I changed the orientation. Are the areas still the same? That's a minor thing that's worthwhile. So do you want to break for lunch and then come back and start writing up? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we're on our own today, but there's some food in the fridge. If you want to get out of the building, I would recommend it.